You've probably heard people say like don't have a plan B because it distracts you from plan A, but the reality is most people have a plan B, C, and D. And until you do this, until you put down all those options on a piece of paper or however you want to write it out, and you ask yourself the positive and the negative of each, and then you really figure out what is your alternative to get the things that you want. First of all, you got to know what you want, and that's a huge thing. I think a lot of people don't know what they want, but if you know that this is certain lifestyle, certain income, certain things you want to do for your family, certain things you want to experience in life, right? Then you got to find a vehicle that can get you there. When I got involved in sales, it was really tough. And so I asked myself, what's my alternative? And my brain went towards looking at ways that were easier. Was it car sales? Was it real estate? I'm selling insurance. This is an intangible product versus a tangible product. You can see the house, you can see the car, you want the pool, you want the backyard. You don't necessarily want a life insurance, and my brain's like, man, that would be easier to sell. And you really, as long as you think things are going to be easier, you're not really going to commit to what you're doing. And so I really processed it. And I said, man, if I go do car sales, I can make a lot of money, but what's the problem with that? Then I'm going to be there every evening. I'm going to be there weekends, right? And you look at people that are in car sales, they'll even tell you it takes a lot of time. It's difficult. They're very hard workers, but it's challenging on the family. It's challenging on the schedule. And I said, man, I can go sell real estate. Okay. People want to buy homes. People love buying homes. People like looking at homes, right? But what's the challenge with that? You look at interest rates today. You look at the same thing, open houses on the weekends. You look at the end of the month, you had a great month. Next month, you're back to zero that you have to keep selling. There's no residual, right? Same with car sales. And I said, okay, I like insurance because there's the residual component of policies or building an agency. And I said, what about if I open a restaurant? And I'm like, man, people like food. I think I would enjoy the restaurant. I can entertain. But then you're like, man, you got to hire employees. You got costs. You got overhead. You got liability. You got all these things. You got permits. You got inspections. You got COVID. You got all these things that happen that affect restaurants. And I'm like, man, you know what? Every single thing out there has advantages and disadvantages. And when you really weigh out all the advantages and disadvantages of those decisions, those options that you have, those alternatives that you have, until you do that, I think some people may not really commit to the thing that they're doing or their career, their field, or their business because they're still considering that there may be an easier way versus making this way the best. So if that's you, make a list today of all the things that are available to you and then really decide. And then once you've made that decision, really commit and execute and don't look back and don't consider those other options because they're just distractions.